The checkered racist past of South Africa comes alive at Robben Island. The island bears witness to the suffering of the predominantly black prisoners who dared to stand up to South Africa's all-white apartheid government. A 7-mile stretch of water separates it from the mainland. In summer, it is unbearably hot. In winter, bitterly cold. Thanks to this and the strong winds, escape from here was almost impossible. Torture and solitary confinement were fairly common. The prison finally closed down in 1993 and was turned into a museum. The guides here are all former prisoners or wardens. Nelson Mandela is probably Robben Island's most famous prisoner. He spent 2 decades here. Mandela and his fellow inmates planned the new democratic South Africa from here. From this hole in the limestone quarry, they dreamt of a South Africa where the blacks were equals and shared the same rights as the whites. During the 18th century, several Europeans settled in South Africa and became local rulers. They practiced apartheid or racial discrimination, due to which the blacks were segregated. They were not allowed to live in the areas where the white settlers lived or work there without a permit. They had no voting rights. There were separate schools, colleges, hospitals, trains, buses, taxis, hotels, public utilities, and even beaches for the blacks. Continuous oppression led to protests and marches by the native blacks. The colored people who had migrated from India also joined them. In 1950s, non-whites jointly started the Defiance Campaign with the support of African National Congress, ANC. Nelson Mandela, the leader of ANC's armed wing, along with 7 other leaders, was arrested and sentenced to life imprisonment. They were banished to Robben Island. During the ensuing years, the anti-apartheid struggle became stronger. The all-white government also faced censure and economic sanctions from different countries. Finally, the racist government had no choice but to repeal the discriminatory policies. Nelson Mandela was freed in 1990 after 28 years in prison. Subsequently, South Africa's first multiracial elections were held in 1994. The ANC won absolute majority and Nelson Mandela became the country's first black president. In 1994, the new government made up of blacks, whites, Indians and colored began drafting a common constitution to ensure equality and freedom in South Africa. This constitution was promulgated on 10th of December 1996 by President Mandela. The salient features of this fine constitution were unity, democracy, equality, social justice and fundamental human rights. The constitution guaranteed to all citizens the right to life, vote and property. It also granted freedom of expression, assembly, association, education and justice. The Constitution gave the whites, who were a minority, their rightful place. It also prohibited discrimination on any basis. This was a unique feature of the South African Constitution. Since its adoption, the Constitution has been amended 16 times and is now formally entitled the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa 1996. Even today, This constitution serves as a benchmark for all the new democracies in the world.